So I know I just built a deck on stream a couple few days ago, but I'm interested in making another one. This one isn't going to be that competitive, um, but it's a deck that I want to try nonetheless after a conversation with Tim. So it's going to be a Sterling deck. I'm still not sure how to pronounce his first name. Iain. I feel like Iain's how you say it. Iain Stirling, retired spook. When your turn begins, gain 2 credits if the corp has more scored agenda points than you. Truth is a fickle mistress. So he has 1 link, 45 cards minimum, and 10 influence. My first impressions of this identity are that it is not good at all. I'm not really a fan of um, being encouraged to play from behind. I don't know. It may suit other people, the fact that you're getting 2 credits for being behind, but I feel like it's not a fair trade-off. And I also think that his influence should be higher than 10. I don't think 2 credits per turn while being behind on agenda points is so good that he needs to be reduced to 10 influence. I feel like it should have been at least 12, but I'm going to try him out nonetheless. Uh, Obviously, there's a bunch of cards that help that ability out that came out with Honor and Profit, so I'm going to see if I can make use of them. The win condition for this deck is going to be using blackmail. Using bad publicity and blackmail to steal any agendas in remotes, and basically hoping to either deck the corp or trash all the agendas that I can using Keyhole and getting the win that way. So it won't be a very competitive deck based on the time constraints of an actual tournament match, but for Octagon purposes and for trolling purposes, this should be fun. So the deck is Iain Stirling. I'm just going to call him Stirling. And it just so happens that with all the controversy going on with the Los Angeles Clippers owner, Stirling, the name Scumbag Stirling just fits perfectly. So Scumbag Stirling it is, because I'm going to be scumbagging my way to victory. So off the bat, the cards off the top of my head that I know I want in here are 3 copies of Logos. Whenever the corp scores an agenda, you may search your stack for a card and add it to your grip. The card that I'm going to be hoping to search for off the first trigger is Keyhole. The rig that I'm looking to build is going to be all 1 memory cost breakers and then a 2 memory Keyhole. So I'm only going to need 5 memory total, so Logos should be fine. Also going to be playing where is it? Go back here. Also going to be playing Anarch. Sorry. Events. Also going to be playing Frame Job. As an additional cost to play this event, spend a click, so it's a double. Forfeit an agenda. If you do, give the corp 1 bad publicity. So this is going to do 2 things. One, it's going to ensure that I'm behind on agendas if I do happen to score 1 early. It's going to ensure that I'm behind on agendas and triggering my 2 credits per turn. And secondly, it's going to give the corp a bad publicity so that I can use those blackmails. It's only 2 influence, so I can afford to have 3 of them. Again, when I build decks, I like to start with 2 of most cards, but I think this is going to be a 3 of right off the bat. So, Frame Job, is 3. The next card that I was looking to include, obviously Keyhole, and only 1 copy, because I'm going to use logos to get it if I don't find it on my own. So that's 7 cards already, and 9 influence out of 10. So maybe I'll drop this frame drop to 2 for now. Then the next card is Blackmail. So I'm looking at 3 of those, and then same old thing to get the base down. 3 same old things. So I'm at 12 cards, 7 influence. The frame job, it might get changed to 3, might hold it at 2. For now, it's gonna sit at 2. Before I do anything else, I'm gonna take a look at the breaker suite. I'm only gonna go for the central breakers because, like I said, I'm not planning to run any remotes unless the corp has a bad publicity first, so I can blackmail them. So the central only breakers that are provided are number 1, Alias. So 1 credit, break sentry subroutine, 2 credits to boost Alias by 3 strength. Again, it can't be used on any ice in a remote, so it's central only, and it costs 3 to bring that in. So Alias, and I'm just gonna go 2 copies of each of these, hoping that if I need to get one specifically, I hit a special order in time. So 2 Alias. The next central only is where is it? Breach, which is not the greatest card, but I'm gonna have to use that anyways. So Breach costs 2 to install, costs 2 credits to break up to 3 barrier subroutines. It really sucks. And then 2 credits to give it +4 strength. So this is gonna be a very expensive breaker. So if I run into things like Eli, I'm gonna have to likely just click through them. Breach cannot be used on ice protecting a remote server. For now, I'm gonna go with 1, and then hopefully I have enough influence to splash a corroder, because I don't know that I'll have enough money to support this card. So I'm gonna go with just the one breach. Oops. Breach until I figure out my influence completely, and see if I can afford to throw a corroder in. The last is Passport. Here it is. Again, central only. Cost 1 to install, 1 memory unit, break code gate subroutine, 2 credits to boost by 2. I really like this card. So Passport's gonna get 2 of as well. Passport 2. So I'm up to 17 cards. I'm gonna put the corroder in for now. So that has me at 9 influence, and see if I can make it run with this. Next is I'm going to be using a lot of resources, a lot of connection resources, so that I can play or to make playing Calling in Favors viable. So Calling Favors costs 0 to play, and you gain 1 credit for each installed connection. So to make it easier, because Ono Sendai is an amazing website, I can just go to the connection subtype and look at all the connections that are currently in Netrunner at the moment. Once I get off of all of this, I always have trouble resetting the search filters. So runner, subtype, connection, and so here are all the connections. Joshua B, Scrubber, and Tally. Obviously I'm not interested in playing those because they do all cost influence that I can't afford, and I'm not really going to need to use the Scrubber anyways, even though it's only 1 influence. So the ones that I'm looking at mostly are going to be the criminal connections, because I don't have to splash them, and the neutrals. So big one here is Data Dealer. This card hasn't seen much play since its release in the core set, and that's because the core set agendas, no one would ever want to forfeit any of those. There was no benefit in really doing that. There was no point in giving up a lead to gain 9 credits to know that you have to go ahead and now score an extra agenda to win. Is just really not worth it. But now that we have crazy cards out of Jinteki, like Shikyu, if I'm saying that right, yeah, like Shikyu, where when you access it, Jinteki pays a certain amount of credits. So say they pay 5 credits, then the runner has the option to either take 5 net damage or an agenda that's worth, or use Shikyu as an agenda that's worth -1. In that case, you're going to want to sell the -1 obviously for 9 credits. So this is a play for not only, or sorry, Data Dealer is being put in the deck not only for Shikyu, because obviously not everyone I run into is going to be playing Shikyus, but to trigger Iain's ability, or Stirling's ability, I'm going to need to stay behind on agendas. So might as well take 9 credits to make sure that the corp is ahead of me on agenda points. So Data Dealer is going to go in. I'm going to put 2 of them. Again, it's 0 to install it, and the benefits of having the data dealers, multiple data dealers out, obviously it doesn't make a difference for me in terms of using the actual ability, but the fact that 2 agendas are now going to give me, sorry, 2 data dealers are now going to give me 2 credits by themselves when I use calling in favors. That's the reason why I want to play multiples, and also because I want to see it every game. So data dealer is getting 2 copies for now, and then we go back to look at the rest of the connections. So Trimoff, I love this card. You can only use it once per turn. You click to gain 2 credits. When it's trash, suffer 3 meat damage. I've only had it get trashed on me on 1 occasion, and it did suck. But I also wasn't playing Fall Guy, which is another connection. So Fall Guy, you trash it to prevent another installed resource from being trashed. So if I do get tagged, and I'm worried about someone trying to target Trimoff, then hopefully I have Fall Guys out. And again, it's 0 to install it, and it's only going to give me more money when I go to call in favors. So Trimoff, Contact 2, and Fall Guy. I'll go with 2 for now. I might increase the Fall Guy to 3, just because of how important it is and the fact that it's another free connection. But again, we shall see. So going back to the other connections that I might want to use. Sorry, 1 second. I was getting a Google Hangouts call, and then I don't know what happened. So, I lost my train of thought. I think I was talking about the connections. Maybe. Anyways, yeah. I think that's what it was about. So, another connection, and this one was suggested by Tim, was trying to play Donut. Donut Taganes. Such a ridiculous name. Do not tag. All I see is do not tag. This is, I think that's what the play on words is here. Do not tag. Because it increases the cost of playing operations and events by 1, so it kind of messes up the SCA source into Scorch. It throws off those calculations a bit. Again, it's a connection, and it's going to help me in reducing the amount of money that the corp makes and when they make it by increasing the cost of hedge funds to 6 and increasing the cost of restructures to 11. I'm hoping that that throws off calculations a bit. Because it's unique, I don't really believe in playing multiple copies of a unique resource. So I'm only going to keep one donut. Because you just don't want to have wasted cards in your hand. It's not going to help. Oh crap. I didn't realize that donut was influence. Interesting. So maybe donut's not going to work. I didn't realize he was too influenced to play. I could take Corroder out, but I'd rather just keep the Corroder and not have donut. Or maybe I should just go with... I don't know. I'm going to try it without donut for now. Although I would like to have another connection like him. So instead of donut, I'm just going to go with Katie Jones. Katie Jones or Raymond Flint, actually. Katie makes me money. And maybe just throw in Raymond just because. Katie, Raymond, and the Source actually would be great. So Katie Jones, everyone knows what that does. I'm not even going to bother talking about her. Raymond Flint's a card that doesn't get played too often. Whenever the corp takes at least one bad publicity, access one card from HQ. I'm not exactly sure how often I'm going to be given the opportunity to trash an agenda to give the corp a bad publicity, so I might not get to trigger Raymond Flint too often, so maybe I won't go with that one. But the Source I do want to keep. The advancement requirement of all agendas is increased by 1. As an additional cost to steal an agenda, you must pay 3 credits, trash the Source when an agenda is scored or stolen. So obviously this wouldn't be a card that I would play until I've already stolen an agenda, and then data dealt it or blackmailed it. Sorry, not blackmailed it. Data dealt it or frame jobbed it. Sorry, but I'm going to include it nonetheless. So the Source, 1 copy. So now I'm up to, what's that, 8 connections. Put in a Katie Jones for good measure. Oops. Katie Jones for good measure. And that is all of the connections that I'm going to keep for now. Looking back at it, I still do want to try playing without the Corroder. Oh wow, Source is 2 influence. I didn't even realize. Okay, so the Source is out, and Corroder is now out. So I'm just gonna go with Donut. How about that? The donuts. So Donut's in, Corroder's out, which means I have to go back to the crappiest central breaker of all time. And I guess it's fair that they did this. Made this so crappy. Oops. I guess it's fair that they made Breach so crappy. So this is what it's going to be. I'm going to have to put Breach back in. Don't really have a choice there. The Breach. 2 copies of Breach. So 26 cards. I have the base down now. So that's usually what I try to do when I build a deck. I get the base down. What's the purpose of the deck? How's it going to work? Get that in, and then you figure out what cards you're going to throw in to suit your style of play or any situations you think you might run into. So again, the blackmails are there for after I steal an agenda and frame job it. Data deal is there for if I hit any sheet queues or steal any more agendas that I want to just sell for more money. Keyhole is going to be the key to victory. Keyhole, the key to victory. I only put 1 copy because I'm hoping to Logos. So allow the corp to score 1 agenda while I have Logos out, and search for the keyhole, install it, and start making runs. With logos out, I should have 5 MU, so that's enough to host or to install all 3 breakers and have the keyhole out, because keyhole is a 2 MU card. One card that I forgot for the base is special order. I usually only play 2 special orders. I'm gonna leave it at 3 right now. I still have 16 cards to play with, so special order can stay in for the moment. I don't have any more influence to play with, so realistically I only need to look at the criminal cards that I can throw in. One card that stands out obviously is Account Siphon. Why not play Account Siphon when it's in faction and I need cards, especially events, to play? So I'm just going to filter out all the other cards and go straight to criminal events. I already have 3 calling in favors. Account Siphon is going to go in. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what Account Siphon does, but for anyone that's new, again, you make a run on HQ. If successful, instead of accessing cards, you force the corp to lose up to 5 credits. Then you gain 2 credits for each credit lost and take 2 tags. Account Siphon is an auto include. I'm not going to put 3 for now. Like I said, I always start off with 2 and then juggle with the ratios after. So 2 Account Siphons. I already have the special orders in. Forged activation and emergency shutdowns will probably get included just to screw with the corp a little bit, if I do manage to keep them pretty low on money, or if I run into something crazy like a Heimdall that I can't afford to breach with breach, then I'm going to try to shut that down. So Forge activation, choose an unres piece of ice. The corp must either res that ice or trash it, which is great after an Account Siphon. And then you combo that into emergency shutdown, play only if you made a successful run on HQ this turn, de-res a piece of ice. So you can see first click Account Siphon, or the way it would work. First click Account Siphon, second click Forge activation on a piece of ice. Hopefully the corp can't afford it, so it gets trashed, and then you emergency shut down and get rid of 2 ice in 1 turn. So I'm going to throw that in, just 2 of each. Force activation 2 and emergency shutdown 2. Another base card that I forgot, Sure Gamble. Gotta put 3 of those. You're silly if you don't. Grappling Hook, E3, and Overmind. E3 would be an awesome card to throw in, especially in a deck like this. Good call on the E3. Very good call on the E3. So E3 feedback implants, awesome hardware. Whenever you break a subroutine on a piece of ice, you may pay 1 credit to break 1 additional subroutine on that ice. So if I use Breach on, let's say, Heimdall or Eli, I pay 2 to break the first one, and then I just pay 1 to break the additionals. So I'm going to go with E3's 2. E3. I haven't played this card since, oh my goodness, I can't even remember. I think when I was playing a Noise Darwin deck, like way back when, I used E3 and haven't touched it since then. But anyways, 2 E3s. I don't think there's any other hardware that I want to throw in. If I have space, I'll put in the unregistered Smith & Wesson, just because I like shooting. I like shooting people. It's like playing an FPS while in Netrunner. Just assassinate all the Niseis. Back to the events. Lawyer Up would be good if I get tagged, but it's not really worth. Leverage isn't worth. Networking, remove 1 tag. You may pay 1 credit to add networking to your grip instead of trashing it, so I can get rid of tags. 2 tags for $2 instead of 2 tags for 4. Hmm. Hmm. Oh yeah, Breach breaks 3 subs. Thanks, Jack. Breach breaks 3 subs, so let's hope that I get to use the E3 on something else. Breach, yeah, break up to 3 barrier subroutines. Maybe I'll have to use it for alias or passport then. I'll keep it anyways. I likely only I'll drop to 1 copy because if anything, I can logos for it as well. So I'll just put it to 1. Um, I'm putting 1 networking too, just cause I'm a boss. This card, Push Your Luck. The first time I read it, I thought it was the most OP card in the game because I didn't realize I didn't read it properly. So I thought it was you show the corp an amount of credits. So for example, I show the corp 9 credits. If they guess that it was an even number, then I double up to 18. I thought it was you show them and there was no disadvantage, like there was no consequence for the corp calling how much you spent right. I thought you'd get to keep the money, but I didn't read that you actually spend it. So if you get it wrong, if you bet your whole credit pool and they guess right, you lose all of your money. I didn't realize that. That's just me being dumb and not reading, because reading is hard. Going back and dropping this to 0. I guess I don't really need it. So no ETH. I still have 6 cards to play with, and no influence. 6 cards to play with and no influence. Any other resources? I guess I could throw in Mr. Lee. It's another connection, so there's no reason not to. Put 2 of that bad boy. Earlier in the stream, I said I don't like putting multiple copies of a unique resource. Mr. Lee's my exception. Mr. Lee is my exception. I would play Grappling Hook if I had a way to get it back, but I don't. 4 more cards. If Lucky Find didn't have a freaking influence cost, it would be OP. So I can't put that in. Oops. I always do that. Type the amount and then try to... Okay. 1 Smith & Wesson for now. And as for the rest of the events, I'm thinking of going easy mark. I don't really need multiple access, so legwork I don't really need. Inside job I could. I just feel like the way this deck is going, I don't really need inside job. Also don't really need hostage. Or it could work out. I'm just gonna play 1 hostage. So, 21 events, account siphon, blackmail, 2 easy marks, 2 emergency shutdowns. I'm not gonna change that. I'm looking if I can drop anything to afford 1 more account siphon. I really think I could do without the hostage for an account siphon, but probably not worth it. Or I could just go with 46 cards. That's always an option. him saying one data sucker. But if I have one data sucker, I won't be able to play all of my programs. I wouldn't be able to have the full suite installed. I think I can get away with only 2 special orders. Stim hack. Yeah, stim hack is always that one card that you throw in when you have one influence that you can blow. And then now throw me at 46, and 46 is what I like. So, put it in. Stim hack. So, the Scumbag Stirling is now complete. Going to go into the first phases of testing with this deck. I should be playing the cake deck, but this was just too good to pass up. So I'm going to test this out, save my Scumbag Stirling,